thank you everyone for attending this afternoon. I very much appreciate it. And just to kind of give you a brief rundown of what we're going to be doing today, essentially I'm going to run through a quick PowerPoint to kind of give you an idea of who we are and a little bit about our product. I'm going to go into a demonstration just to show you the functionality of it and how it actually does make Excel reporting fun. And then we'll get into the Q&A afterwards. So without further ado, we will start. And basically, well, who are we? Who is BizNet? We're an award-winning software company. We've been recognized by Inc. 5000, K2 Enterprises, and most recently Tech Titans. And we're a global partner to a host of ERP systems with a great deal of presence in Sage. And we've been in business since 1996. And essentially, the reason that we came about is that there's data explosion going on, and every day it's getting bigger and more complex. So companies are out there looking for tools to tackle the issue. A lot of them are going to dashboarding, data visualization, big data, BI tools, whereas we're a little bit different. We take a complementary approach, and we're essentially built upon Excel. And why Excel? Well, there's over 1 billion users in the world. As a matter of fact, last account is closer to 1.5 billion users of Microsoft Office in the world. So obviously, it's a very global platform. It's in over 75 languages. And there are a ton of presentation layers that are built into Excel that people really don't take advantage of because they just don't have the capability of getting their data in the correct format, which is what we allow people to do. And what is Excel used for? Top line, main reason is decision making, 78%. And then consolidations and summarizations are something that's very, very important to our customer base and something that we facilitate for very well. And it goes on down the line, all the way down to data entry back into ERP systems at the end. So here's kind of where people are before and then where they are after using our software. Typically speaking, most organizations spend a ton of time aggregating their data and distributing their reports. And what that does is it prohibits them from having the time to actually spend analyzing that data and making proper business decisions as a result. Well, we flip that over and we shorten the amount of time that you spend aggregating and distributing so that you can actually spend the time actually analyzing the data, seeing trends within your company, and making appropriate business decisions. So what is Biz Insight? Well, Excel reporting is difficult. You can't drill down into the numbers, and sharing reports takes a lot of time. So what we've done is we've created over 50 real-time connectors into various ERP systems that allow you to create live interactive Excel reports within minutes. And then you can use the broadcast tool, which I'll touch on later, to distribute those reports out in a single click, and even go as far as actually automating some of your reports as well. So with that said, I'm going to jump into the demo. We're going to get some answers on the fly. I'm going to show you how drill down works within our software and Excel, and I'm going to take an existing static report, something that everyone deals with, and I'm going to convert it into a dynamic so that it just works in conjunction with your database. And then I'm going to show you the broadcast tool so you can see automated report distribution. So without further ado, let me flip on over here to the demo. And this kind of just tells a little bit of a story. This is, let's say the boss comes up to you and says, look, I've got a meeting in 2 hours. I need this month's numbers. I don't expect a miracle. Just, do the best you can and get it to me as quickly as possible. And typically speaking, that's going to put people into panic mode because there's really two different ways that people would tend to generate a report like this. They would either do a data dump and massage that data, or it would be manual data entry. But using Biz Insight, quite literally, all you're going to have to do is roll to the current date within a report that has already been built and created dynamic, and now you have a 1-month income statement for the month ended December 2016. Send that off to the boss within a matter of a few minutes, and the boss responds back to you and says, is this accurate? Because basically, we all know Excel comes in two flavors. It's either fast or it's accurate, but rarely the two shall meet. But you could confidently and resoundingly say, yes, it is. These are the latest numbers from our database. And they might say, well, gosh, if I'd have known that, I'd have asked for a 3-month report. Could you do that before my meeting? The answer is sure, no problem. And what I'm doing here is I'm just basically, I rolled the date back a couple of months so that it gives me the opportunity to grab these functions and pull them over. And it literally automatically auto-populates and changes it to a 3-month trending income statement for the quarter ended December 2016. So that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of what you can do. And I'm also, just to show you a few things, going to turn this into an annual report. And maybe you have a fiscal year that doesn't coincide with calendar, or you have reports that are year-over-year reports that you need to do. And that's one thing that a lot of softwares have a challenge with. They have an inability to actually go in between calendar years. They kind of stop because they don't understand what it is that you're trying to accomplish. But with BizInsight, again, what I did is I took those functions and I just dragged them over and generated a 12-month income statement for the year ended 2015. But here's what's interesting about it. You see that it actually does the year over year. So it can go into the next calendar year without any issues. And really, the sky's the limit as far as how big you want to build the report. But in looking at this, let's say this is a report that you send out and somebody comes back to you and goes, I was looking at that report you sent out, and the revenue hardware numbers for October just don't sync up with what I have. Can you build me an ad hoc report, and give me a detail so that I can cross-reference it with what I have? And this is the issue that most people have in reporting. They have, they build reports, they send them out, and then the people come back and they ask for additional reports. But using BizInsight, you could say, you know what, you actually have that. All you have to do is highlight that particular cell, right-click it, go to the BizInsight drill down, and for the sake of time, I'm just going to pull it into a pivot table, but you can pull it into a table or super table as well. And so this gives the user the freedom to generate whatever report that they want, just grabbing and pulling data on the fly, so that they have the capability of seeing what's behind a particular cell and formatting it in the way that they need in order to get the information that they need quickly, without having to get back into line in order to get the report that they need. And here's a real quick division report. I'm going to try and shrink this down just a little bit. And basically, this is kind of to exemplify a few different things. If you're a multi-division company, great. If you're a multi-entity company as well, that's fine too. You just kind of have to use your imagination. But this is to illustrate a few things. Again, this is a dynamic report. So when I roll the data on it, you notice that the data changes with it. But really, it's 3 years worth of data. And then if you click on the divisions of this, you will notice that essentially there's 5 different divisions. I'm just going to pull one up so that it's by itself. So this is a report that can be parsed out. But really what this is 15 different reports built into one. So no longer do you need that workbook with 15 different tabs. You can generate reports like this. They can be clear and concise and compact. And you can also segment these out so that if there's a division or entity heads that need to see just the data for their particular, position, they have the capability of doing that, simply by you parsing that data out to them. Real quick, as in a 12-month rolling income statement, again, we're dealing with, something that is a dynamic report. It's been converted. But this is where we actually start to leverage what is built inside of Excel. And this graph down here is actually tied into the net income line. So this is a report that caters to the best of both worlds. Not only does it, when you update the report, not only does it change this, but it also changes the numbers as well. So I'm going to do this, on just one more thing real quick, just to kind of show you that you see those changes. But this is where you can kind of cater to both sets of people in your organization, those that are more visually oriented, want to see it in a graphical kind of dashboard interface, and then those that just want to see the numbers, and if they want to get into the actual nuts and bolts of it and get more thorough detail, they can. And at any point, they have that capability of using that drill down tool to generate an ad hoc report. Next is actual versus budget, something that's high on the list for most of our customers. And of course, this is going to be the most important portion of it, actual budget and percentage of goal. And essentially, as we roll through the year, once we get to June, we refresh the report. It's going to go out to the ERP database. It's going to pull that fresh information and it's going to update it. And you see that the numbers over here change with it. And I'm just going to do that one more time just so that you can see that as well. Now, here's the one, dreaded monthly income statement that most people cringe when they have to do. And when our customers come on board with us, and we ask them a lot of questions because we want to see how we can continuously improve. And we were shocked to find out that most companies spend, upwards of 15, 20 hours on a simple monthly income statement. But using Biz Insight, it can be done in one of two ways. You can simply go into the report and go to the latest date range like this, and it automatically goes out and it syncs up the data and pulls it into the report so you have the latest data in the report. Or you can use the broadcast tool to automate it, which I will get into in a minute. But it's these reports that people spend a great deal of time on, that they're doing, on a continuous basis, that we really save a great deal of time for our customers with, and that gives them the opportunity to concentrate on things that are more important, like an aged receivables report. This is where you really kind of get to understand how being able to look at your data in a real-time sense gives you the capability of making smarter business decisions. Again, we're looking at a dynamic report. I'm going to roll this real quick so that you can see that it is dynamic. But just for the sake of the argument, let's just say that you have a warehouse guy, and the warehouse guy comes to you and says, hey, I've got an order for computer repair and sales and Blackwell emulsions. They both want the exact same product, but we only have enough to fulfill one of the orders. Which one do I do? Well, in your old world, you would go, well, computer repair and sales does a ton of business with us, so let's go with them. But using the Spark chart that's built into Excel and tying that into the report and being able to pull this data in a real-time manner gives you the capability of seeing that they are trending very sharp upwards in their past due terms, whereas Blackwell Emulsions is doing a far better job of paying their bills off. So the safe bet from a cash flow perspective would be to tell the warehouse guy, you know what, give that order to Blackwell Emulsions. It's going to give me a chance to call computer repair and sales. I'm going to let them know that they're on back order, and I can talk to them about bringing themselves more current. And just going to do one more report real quick, and then we're going to get into how these things are built and how easy it actually is. And this is just a customer analysis report, something that's fairly simple. It's got a couple of years worth of data in it, but this is, again, to show you how sophisticated you can get when you're looking at data that is consolidated into a single report. We essentially have right here 2 years worth of data. Of course, there's 12 months in a year. And then if you look here, we're looking at 6 territories, okay? So literally, this is well over 120 reports actually built into one. So again, being able to build these reports and consolidate them down tightens up your process, makes reporting a lot easier, and gives you the capability of segmenting things out so that you can provide certain segments of data to people that's necessary for their position. But then again, there's other people that might not be privy to that data. So it makes a great deal of sense. Now, sales analysis, I'm going to just kind of skip over because I want to get into the meat of the demo. And this is essentially for those of you that are very familiar with Excel. If you look up here, you will notice that essentially all of this, as I roll through, these are all manual data inputs. Of course, you have a sum right there. But this whole report, wherever I click, it's all manual data entry. Now, kind of going back here to one of these others, if you look, you see this biz super function. And this is really what our software does. It generates these functions, to create a dynamic relationship with your database. So here's how our software does that with a static sheet. Kind of use your imagination and think about a particular report that you have to do that is cumbersome and takes a long time, and you have to do a lot of manual data entry on. And just imagine that that's this report. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up our BizInsight query tool, and I'm going to convert this in a matter of a few minutes, just to show you exactly how easy it is. And essentially, I'm going to go over here to function. I'm going to hit start over just so that we clear all the data out of there. And this tool is just going to ask some very simple questions. Where's your data? In this example, it's in Excel. What data set are you wanting to work with? We're working with GL balances. And then what action would you like to take? For this report, of course, it's going to be sum. And then what information do you want returned? And that's going to be month to date net. I'm going to hit this reverse sign here real quick. And then this is going to give me the ability to add my filters so that I can essentially generate the relationships inside the database. And we're going to do fiscal year, fiscal period, and segment one of the data. And when I do that, literally what I have to do is I have to generate a correlation. So I click here for fiscal year, and that is going to correlate with that particular cell. So I click OK. And then I'm going to run back, and I'm going to go to fiscal period. And fiscal period is right here. And what I want to do is I want to actually anchor this real quick, and then click OK. And then segment one of the data, which is right there, and then click OK. So basically what I have is, I look at this and I've got everything set up in the manner that I need it, and it all looks great. So I click OK, and then it asks me, well, where's your target cell? It is going to be this particular one. So I click OK. It's going to ask if I want to override it. I hit yes. And then as you notice, everything changed there, but you see that now it has that BizNet super function. And so if I click below it, you're going to see that it's static. So the rest of this report is still static, but this one is dynamic. So the question would be, do you have to do that to every cell? And the answer is yes. However, the tool is intuitive enough that all you have to do is drag over these functions, and we've automatically converted this particular portion into a dynamic report. And I'm just going to do the same thing to this portion, just copy that over, and then clean that up real quick. And once I do that, I'm going to pull down and pull over. And now I have taken this entire report. And if you look up in here, you'll notice that wherever I click, we have those super functions built in. So now this report is dynamic. And, essentially, at this point, you can refresh it. This is something that you can save, you can refresh, you can automate this report, you can do all kinds of things. One of the things that I wanted to show you real quick is how you can again, leverage what's built inside of Excel. There's over 230 different graphs. So what I'm going to do, just for the sake of demonstration, is show you how using BizInsight, we can just generate a quick on-the-fly dashboard for those that are more visually oriented. So I grabbed that and I selected it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of hide this stuff because those people don't want to see anything numbers related. They just want to see graphs and charts and things of that nature. I'll do that to one more line here and go in and grab a chart, and let's do a bar chart and click OK and pull this over here. And essentially what I'm doing is I'm grabbing that and pulling that over. So now what I've done is I've created a dashboard on the fly that when I change, when I roll the date or go to update the report, it actually, rolls with it. And I'll give you a stronger example of this real quick. And that is with the dashboard that is designed based off of this particular report. So if you want a dashboard for certain people in your organization, it's no problem. You can generate these very, very quickly. And you notice that as I roll the date, you see that the entire dashboard changes with it. So this is something that is very easy to generate and very quick. And just to kind of give you an idea, there is, we're going to kind of get into this broadcast tool because I think that this is highly important. And this is where we get into not only report distribution, but I think more importantly, report automation. So let's say you've generated this whole report and you need to send it out. Well, using our broadcast tool, it's actually pretty easy. You just determine what is your rendering format. You can send it out in a PDF file, pretty much every form of Excel, and of course you can send it out with the data to the individuals. You can even generate an HTML if you want to publish to a website. Quite easy, and then you have your options of how you want to send it out. Do you want to send it to somebody's desktop, to a particular folder that might be shared, a shared drive, a OneDrive, an FTP site, whatever you want. But of course, most people are going to take advantage of email because you can generate your distribution lists. So you can choose based off of what report you're sending out, who gets to see that, and just with a few clicks, you have the appropriate people set up for that particular report. And as I was saying, when you generate a big report like this, let's say the C-level executives get to see the whole thing, but there are certain people within the organization that are not exactly privy to that information. You can just run through and grab certain sections of the report, and you can distribute those to the people who don't have the essentially position to be able to look at all of the data. They just need to see certain data for their job functions. You can also use this tool to create a very large report. For example, let's say you have an annual report that you need to put out, and you have an introduction into it, and then you need the report data in it, and then you need a summarization and information at the end. You can actually pull Word files and PDFs and various things and put them in a precise order so that you have a really nice detailed report that you can send out to people. And so this is how you would send it out, and that's using the broadcast tool. You could simply just hit run now once you've made the determination and ship it off to everybody that needs to receive it. Or this is where automation comes into play. And when you think about those reports that you have to do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and they're the same repetitive report over and over and over again, you can actually convert those reports to dynamic reports like I just showed you, and then you can use the broadcast tool and set it up so that the software itself will actually open the report up, go out to your database, pull in all the fresh data, and then distribute it in the manner that you want to the people that you want without any human intervention. So it's really a spectacular piece. It saves an incredible amount of time. And on that particular note, typically when we talk to our customers, and we have our company line that we try and be more conservative, and then we have the more realistic line, which is our customers. Typically speaking, we save our customers somewhere in the ballpark of about 60% of their time on reporting. That's company line. But when we talk to our customers, it's actually north of 80% of their time is saved. So we save a great deal of time. And with that said, I'm going to show you this real quick. This is that report that we just went through, and this is a PDF version of it, just so you can kind of have a visualization. You notice how certain aspects of it are just broken out so that it's more detailed and people can see the individual information, based off of division or region or things of that nature. But it puts it into a really nice, clean format. Now that I've shown you all this, there's one thing that I want to say. For those of you that are Sage 100 customers, our software does come with a tie-in to GL out of the box. And there's those of you that are already on board with our product and you're using it for your GL reporting. But let's say you need more. You need AR, AP, you need access to other aspects of the database. We do actually have a module that will allow you to do that as well. Basically that is something that you can get in contact with Jody about, and she can discuss with you further, and she can go over pricing on that. So with that, basically, I'm going to go through the frequently asked questions. Do I need additional hardware? No, BizNet uses existing hardware. So it's actually pretty simple. How long does it take to deploy? It's pretty quick. It can be implemented in less than a day. How hard is it to learn? If you can use Excel, you can use BizInsight. Can you use your existing spreadsheets? Absolutely. You can leverage all your existing spreadsheets. However, let's say you have certain ones that you're not happy with the format, or they don't really facilitate for your needs in the way that you want. We actually offer free of charge to our customer base a library of over 700 report templates. So if there's a report that you feel like you could have a better version of, you can certainly go to our library and pull a template for it and build the report based off of that. So the takeaways are anyone can build a report within minutes. You're spending your time actually analyzing data versus aggregating it, and everyone can have faster and easier access to information. And with that said, I am going to open it up to questions.
Hi, Kate. Thank you for that. We have just a couple of questions rolling in. Please be sure to type those into the questions window if you do have questions for Kate. The first one has to do with access. Can you restrict access by users?
Absolutely. Security is very important. It's very important to our customers. So, basically we can go just for the most part, we're going to start with the access capabilities of the user based off of their access into the ERP system. What things do they have access to? And then if you want to get more granular, it is entirely possible to get more granular from there in the settings. Essentially the software is two different pieces. There's the portion that's built into Excel, and then there's the connector. And essentially when you're configuring that, which is pretty easy to do on the front end, you can certainly tighten up security so that people working, let's say, a particular aspect of accounting, maybe they're doing accounts payable, they wouldn't have the capability of looking at aspects of GL or AR. based off of the security protocol set up for that individual user.
Okay, great. Next question. Do you have to be a BizInsight user in order to drill down on the data?
Excellent question. We essentially have three different types of people. Three different types of users, we'll say. There's what we call the connected users or designers. And those are the ones that are connected and tied directly into the database. So they have the capability of going into the data so that they can generate the reports that are necessary for the organization. The next level of user is the viewer. And the viewers are the ones that they're separated out. If there's a person, let's say a C-level executive, or somebody that does a lot with data that needs that capability of drill down, they do require a user's license as a viewer so that they can have that capability of drilling down. And they're the ones that when a workbook is sent out to them, all of the data that's behind it and all that historical data, it actually goes into a proprietary in-cache memory system, and it is sent off to them. So they have the capability of looking into that data, drilling down into it, and manipulating it and generating their own ad hoc reports. They do not have access to the database, so they are not a live user. They get whatever data, whenever it was sent, that's the end of the data for them, and they have the historics. The third type, and this is important, are your average people within the organization or outside the organization that just need a static report. They don't need something that they can drill into. They just need to see visually what's going on. Those particular users do not require a license.
Great, thank you. It doesn't look like we have any other questions coming in, so thank you again, everyone, for joining us for this webinar today. If you are a current BizInsight user, I'm sorry?
Real quick, if I could just interject, I just want to throw one more thing in.
Yes.
Actually, if it will work. One thing about BizNet is that we are the host of the largest Excel users group in the world. And we have an event every year called Excelapalooza. And it is the largest Excel conference in the world. And it's held September 7th through 19th this year here in Dallas, Texas. And Oasis is a very, very strong partner of ours. As a matter of fact, they were the strongest partner of ours last year. So we have a great relationship with them. They know our product. We have great confidence in them. And kind of as a token of our appreciation to them and their customers, we are offering a coupon code for $100 off, and that's Oasis 2018. Jody can certainly get that out to you. And for those of you that don't have her information, it is right here. And I will let you take it away, Jody.
Okay, was just going to go ahead and wrap up. I do encourage any current BizInsight users to join us at Excelapalooza. We are going to have a couple of our team members going this year, and it's always a good time and very informative. And if you did see functionality in the demonstration today that you do not currently have through that system connector to those additional modules within Sage 100 and are interested in learning more about that, what it costs or what it would take to get that installed, please don't hesitate to contact me at the contact information on the screen. Jody at oasisky.com is the best way to reach me, or just call us, and I'm extension 225. If you have any other questions that we didn't answer during today's webinar, please just email me directly and I'll take care of that. Thank you again, Kate, and thanks everyone for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Have a good day.